My pastor recently said that going through life without goals is like playing hockey with no nets. New Year's is a great time to sit down and plan your goals. So I want to sit down and tell you guys about my goals for 2020, what I'm calling the year of the pursuit. I know that sounds super cheesy, the year of the pursuit, but every year I try to sit down, talk to God, come up with my goals for the year, and I like to give it a title. So this year, when I was talking to God recently about what 2020 was gonna look like and what I wanted to do and hopefully what he wanted me to do in 2020, I told him I want 2020 to be about the pursuit. Now, it's probably not generally a good idea for you to try to tell God what your plans are. It's better to actually sit and listen for his plans. But I was surprised when God said, okay, we can call it the pursuit. And that actually surprised me a little bit because in my mind, I was thinking this year I'm gonna pursue things, I'm gonna get mine. And I was surprised that God said yes, until he told me what he meant by the pursuit. He said, you can go ahead and make 2020 about the pursuit, but you need to prioritize what you're pursuing. So then he gave me 4 things that I needed to prioritize in 2020. So I'm gonna explain these to you, and I'm gonna actually go into more depth in later videos. The month of January is actually gonna be me breaking down and explaining what exactly this means for me. But before I go on with this video, I wanna explain to you why I'm making this video and why I'm telling you about my goals and my plans for 2020. I'm telling you for 3 reasons. First of all, to tell you that you should make goals for yourself and encourage you, hopefully, to make some goals for yourself for 2020. 2, maybe some of these goals, some of the things that I'm talking about will inspire you while you're making your goals and you'll pursue some of these things as well. The 3rd reason is for accountability. Honestly, it's great to write things down and keep a journal and keep them to yourself and have these goals and dreams and things in your head. But at some point you have to tell people. You have to get it out there to make it real. And so I want to put it out there. I want all of you to know these are my goals for 2020. So there's 4 things that God told me to pursue in 2020, and he told me to prioritize them, and he gave me these 4 things in this order. The first thing he said was to prioritize his presence. That means to make time for God. It may not seem like the most productive thing to do, but I promise you it is. When you get busy and you got a lot going on, make sure that you still take time to prioritize God's presence. If prioritizing the presence of God is something that's important to you for 2020 and you are going to spend more time reading the Bible, praying, seeking God, then let me recommend a devotion for you. Everything I know I learned from sports. It's actually written by me, Coan. Obviously I'm a little biased, but I think it's a great read and I think it could be really helpful for you during 2020, especially if a goal of yours is to pursue the presence of God and spend more time with him and in his word. The second thing he told me to do was prioritize his people. And again, that may not seem like the most productive way to spend your time, but people are important. They're the most important thing in the world. They're the most important thing to God. The 3rd thing is to prioritize peace. And yes, these all do start with a P, but that is the way that God told it to me. And you know what? It makes it a whole lot easier to remember when they all start with the same letter. So when pastors have alliteration or use rhyming, yes, God often speaks to you that way to help you remember it. So the 3rd thing, prioritize peace. And he said that because many of us think that peace is something that's gonna happen, at least for me, and I'm sure some of you think the same way, that we think that peace is something that's gonna happen after I've accomplished a certain thing. Like when I get to there, then I'll have peace. When I achieve this level of success or status or money, then I'll be at peace. Then I'll be content. Then I'll be happy with life. And God was like, no, you have to make it a priority to pursue peace. And then lastly, he said, after you pursue those 3 things, I want you to pursue your passions. What do you really want to do? So that's just a quick summary of the 4 things that God told me to pursue and prioritize the pursuit of those 4 things. And I'm gonna go into more depth in the coming up videos, but I want to share those things with you, and I really wanted to encourage you to sit down, make some goals for yourself for 2020. Talk to God, don't just come up with these on your own, but if you and God wanna come up with a word or a phrase or a sentence to describe the whole year, and then break it down from there, and then each one of those goals honestly break down on how you're gonna accomplish that. Again, it's so important to have goals that you're pursuing because it's like playing hockey without nets. Like, what's the purpose? Why are you out there? It'd be pretty boring to watch a hockey game where there's no nets and they're just kind of skating around and there's no one getting points, there's no one putting the puck in anywhere, there's no one stopping the puck. Like, what's kind of the point of being out there on the ice if you don't have goals, if you don't have points, if you don't have nets and something to pursue? So I want to encourage you, set some goals, make a plan for 2020, talk to God so the plan is his and not just yours. And then when you come up with what you want to pursue in 2020, make sure you prioritize your pursuits.